Hey everybody, it's Bill Slocum at NC State. And in this part of my series of an introduction to the National Park Service ArcGIS Online for organizations, instructional videos, I want to talk about sharing your content with others. This is a very important thing and something you have to be very careful with from time to time. You may not want everybody in the world, in other words the public, to get access to your data. So I want to teach you how to do that. First things first, neither the National Park Service nor NC State University endorses or recommends any commercial products, processes, or services. This material may not be used for advertising or product endorsement purposes. This material is intended for educational purposes only. Neither the U.S. government nor NC State University warrants or assumes any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any information, apparatus, product, or process disclosed. Okay. Sharing your content. You've seen in my series I've created some services. They're hosted services in ArcGIS Online. They're living up there in the cloud. I've created a web app, a basic park map that the park can use, everyone in the park can be able to use, and I've created a web app for that using the web app builder or a configurable template. So you'll see here that sharing your content with others, you can share services, maps, and apps. You can share that with everyone, and that means the public. So be very careful with this. You can share it with everybody in the National Park Service that has an ArcGIS Online account, or you can use a custom group. And the different parks have different groups, different regions have different groups. The Northeast region has a group. I've actually created a group just for this instructional video purposes with just a few members in the Northeast region. So let's get started. First of all, you know you got to log in to nps.maps.arcgis.com to get going. So let's start with that. I've already gone there, I've logged in, and you can see that I've got some content here. I've got a base map, and I've got a basic viewer, and I've got a web app builder. Right? And then within those applications in that web map, I have a select number of my feature services. Well, let's just start by sharing a service. Now remember I mentioned that you've got the hosted feature service here and you've got a service definition file. Don't worry about serving that or sharing that service definition file unless someone specifically asks for it. Okay? What that allows people to do is actually create a new service based on your parameters. Let's not worry about that. Now, in my web application, I don't have my vegetation. So you know what? Maybe I want to make my vegetation layer available. I want to make that access, not update capabilities, I just want that access to go to everybody in a particular group. And a group can be made by someone with the correct credentials or regional administrator. I want to share this service with just my NER ArcGIS Online Instructional Videos group. Remember, this is just a group I've just created for instructional purposes. It'll go away. I want to say OK. Notice over here, I do not have a lock like I do with my demo data. It's not shared. But my colonial vegetation from 2005 is shared with the group. Let's take a look at my groups. Okay, we got it in a list. Let's look at a grid here. Here's my groups, and I'm going to scroll down to the instructional videos. And you'll see here that now everyone in my group has the ability to get to this web service. And they could use that web service as long as it is shared with the group. Okay. Let's just go to that group real quick. There we go. Now we're at the group. And you can see there's only one thing in that content. And if I look at my members, you can see here that select members within the Northeast region has access to these, to this layer. Okay. I'm going to make some other stuff available instead of just this vegetation. And again, any member of this group would have access to this feature service. But that's the only one I've given them access to. That's all there is to sharing. Who do you want to share it with, and what type of access and update capabilities do you want them to have? That is up to you to explore. Read the documentation if you need additional help on that. I'm going to go back to my content. Now, I've shared a service. If I want to share a map, then that map has got content in it. Let's look at those item details. This web map contains these layers. If I want to share a web map, I have to make sure that all the layers in that map are shared in the exact same way as the web map. So if I want to share this web map with my new group, I have to share all of these layers with that new group. But don't worry, there's an easy way to do that. In the same vein, if I want to share my app, let's just say that basic viewer app with a group, right now it's locked, and let's look at that item details. If I want to share that app, that means that I have to share the map that's associated with it, and I have to share all the layers. So it builds upon each other. Let me go back to my content. Now, something that's nice here in this latest edition of ArcGIS Online is if I click Web App Builder and I want to share this, access to this, with my instructional videos group, I'll just click that and click OK. You're going to get an update sharing dialog box. Now this is great. What this has in it is all the layers and everything associated with this app. And I'm just going to simply click update sharing. Now I want you to notice what happens to these locks over here. Notice that now every layer associated with this application, this web app, has been shared. Let's take a look at that group. And now you can see I don't have just one thing, which was that vegetation layer. I have all the layers in my app. Well, let's get rid of that. Let's keep an eye on that right there, that vegetation layer. Okay. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go to my vegetation layer here. I'm going to select it. Okay. I'm going to click on the little group thing. A lot of different ways to interface with this software. And really, it's just trial and error a lot of times. That's the way it works. That's the way it is to be a geospatial practitioner, right? So now that lock is weight. I'm going to go back to that group. All right. Scroll right on down here. And there it is. And let's just jump to that group. You'll notice now that that vegetation tile is gone. That access to that layer is gone. Now only the members of my group, and remember it's a select group. You know, feel great. You're in a select group, right? Only have access to those. Now, if they wanted to, they could get access to everything, or you could use this tool to look at maps, or you could look at just what apps are available, things of that nature, just navigating the interface. So that's all there is to it. Let's just recap real quickly. It all starts with your services that are associated with your maps, that are associated with your apps. You can share a service independent of anything else. If you share a map, all the services associated with that map must be shared. If you share an app, all the maps and services associated with that app have to be shared in the exact same manner. But the software will help you walk through that. All right. Jump on in, create some stuff. You may already be a member of a group, and this is a great way to share your content and get input from the people that you work with about your maps and your apps. The best person to create, or the best person to help you design your apps and maps are those that are going to use it. It might not be right the first time, but once you share it and start collaborating, I'm sure it'll all come together for you. All right, that's all I've got today. I hope you found this enjoyable and useful. Have a good day.